Hello everyone, my name is Ellse Tertanti from 4BD class. So today I will presentation the article journal about Towards the Colonial Media Archaeology, the Absent Archive of Screenwriting History and the Absolute Munshi. The author is Rakesh Singh Putra, published 2020, volume number 38 and issue number 1. So in this presentation, there is a content, so first abstract and then introduction, the archive problem for professionalizing the continuity script, and then form object to practice, 6 Munshi as a topos, 7 absent as obsolescence, and 8 is conclusion. Okay, for abstract. So in the abstract in this article journal, there are two core discussion. First, use the historical of screenwriting as a case study. So this article shows how uniting the colonial thinking and media archaeology can challenge the linear narrative of modernity in media history. And second, connecting the seemingly different history of absence of archive and human obsolescence. So, to uncover the elusive construction of screenwriting modernity that has historical, observed, parallel writing practice and pre-existing scribe traditions. Okay, next there is introduction. So, the colonial thinking prioritized the geopolitical of chronology rather than exceptionalism. So, the text of media archaeology is to dig out the hidden layer of media history. And media archaeology serves both as a method of restoring the forgotten media past and critique of the dominant linear narrative of technical progress. So, some media archaeology have highlighted the epistemological centrality of human psychology in rethinking the media historical narrative. Okay. Next, we have the archive problem. So, from the article, I can conclude two problems in archive management. So, first, lack of understanding of the importance of archives. So, the Hindi film industry, or what we often call Bollywood, produce more movies than Hollywood every year. But knowing the importance of archive is very important. That's where they become the basic concept, which should be the tendency of historians to write screenplays, of course. And second, we have anticipation of poorly understood archive growth. So in this second archive problem, the absence of manuscript archive from the early year was actually compounded by serious apathy toward the preservation of film artifact. So at that time, the artifact can become a trace, or in other words, if the form of writing does not exist, then the artifact has trace, of course. And next slide is professionalizing the Courtney script. So from the title, in this slide we will talk about the continuity script. So first, what is the continuity script? So continuity scripting is a screenwriting system in Hollywood studios that allows studio owner to micromanage every step of the product process. And in continuity script, there are two functions of continuity script itself. First, continuity script are external manifestation of more fundamental structure that cannot be spared from the business of modern companies. And the second function of continuity script itself is continuity script as a markers of modernity of screenwriting image in the West and spread throughout South Asia through perspective manual transmission and other discursive terms. After professionalizing the continuity script, we have form object to practice. So this slide discusses the importance of discussing how archaeology writes scenarios that are proposed as media practice rather than media object. So, some experts argue that the colonial media archaeology should be depart from a pure materialist approach and radical rewrite humans into media history. So, where to try to do this with a brief history of Munshi is and scenario writing practice. So yeah, so it can be in so it can be interpreted that can archaeology of the colonial media must depart from a purely materialist approach and radically rewrite humans into the historical of the media. And after this we have Munshi as a topos. So first of all, what is Munshi? So Munshi was used for the professional of scribe in the early 1600 used in the Mughal Empire of India. At least 12 screenwriters had Munshi first in front of their names, such as Munshi Ismail, Munshi Zamer, and Munshi Sagar Hussain. And after that, I will you guys to know history of Munshi. So since 1556, India officially declared Persian as their official language. Because of the use Persian language, Munshi profession is very exalted because Munshi profession itself, in addition to being a scribe, is also an expert in diplomacy and social behavior. Because that official mainly interact with language teacher who could train them in Persians, of course. And after that, half of the 19th century, a decline in the reputation of the scribe as the official language of colonial India was changed from Persian to English. Despite early interest in Munshi's strong colonial investment in the acquisition of native language, the public reputation of scribes began to decline as the official language of colonial India was changed from Persian to English during the first half of 19th century. By the end of the 19th century, British officials had begun mocking Munshi as a culture mercenary was always overestimate the value of his service. And here's Munshi as a topos. So there is two. First, media archaeology about topos as the embellishment of culture tradition. So the idea of media archaeology about topos as temporary embellishment of enduring culture tradition has helped us think about the transhistorical categories from Munshi, from Mughal courts and colonial language institutions to film studios. And second, we have with this Munshi topos itself can help reputation the history of Indian screenwriting. And then we have the Munshi in modern times. So as we know, Munshi is a long time ago, and how is Munshi in modern times or right now? So there are two categories of how Munshi now in modern times. First, most new writers reject the honorable prefix which support a more professional designation. And second, most Indian screenwriters today would scoff off the idea of being referred to as Munshi. So we know from these two categories this is about the attitude. So this dismissive attitude can be said to be revealing. So the colonial unconscious continues to associate in competence and absoluteness with traditional taxonomy and irrealism in front of the history of efficiency and industrial progress. And next we have absence and obsolescence. So film culture emphasizes improvisation. Therefore, the search for bound script is the search for the modernity of archive-oriented screenwriting, while failure in orientation will burden in writing scenario. And yeah, as we know, the script archive serves as historiographic for the retroactive reorganization of film practice, especially in the face of repeated, stereotypical, and description of Hindi film industry as a disorganized industry. And now we have conclusion. So to bring to bring together some of the standards of screenwriting and the history of the script in South Asia, it relates to continuity script, which the continuity script itself is a sign of film's modernity, as well as the importance of the scenario archive. Moreover, the loss of the practice of writing scenario caused by the colonial unconscious that has under, undermined the heterogeneity of such practice from the very beginning. And I think that's all I can tell you guys about this article. Thank you.